great experience, truly great experience. And we had some of the greatest teachers of all time, we feel like, and they gave us an opportunity to be better students, better individuals, and to ground us and give us a purpose to move forward with and a vision to move forward with. And we had some really outstanding teachers, and every one of them, if we went back to talk about any of them, all of them would be included, from T.P. Campbell to Andy Ruth Campbell, Mr. Arthur Woodard, even Mr. James Bodge, many of the other ones. There's so many of them, Miss Grayson. It's just so many of our teachers, and even our lunchroom staff and our janitorial people, all of them had a great impact on the students of Tivoli over the years. And in the records of Walton County, they say that the school, they picked it up in 1912, but we went back and researched the history through Walton County record books, and we went back and pulled the records from Walton County and found that the school actually existed from 1881, and it was not called Tivoli. Didn't pick that part up until 1908, but now it started with a school, just elementary school, from the first grade to the fifth grade. We traced it back in the archives in the superintendent's office all the way back, and we found out in 1881 it was called a School for Colors. And that's what it was listed at, even in the record books, in the archives. And there was an elementary school here, and not on this property, but it was off of this piece of property here. But nevertheless, it started from that small school. And as the years passed on, it got larger and larger. And the black population in Walton County began to grow. And at that point, from the first grade to the fifth grade, according to the record books from 1881, it began to then move from first grade to the fifth grade. It moved from fifth to the 10th grade. And when it hit the 10th grade, it started up the 11th. Every year, there was another grade added, till they got to 1937. In 1937, you had your first graduating senior class. It was 12 in that class. All 12 of them graduated and went on to get a doctorate degree. All 12 students.
Wow.
And the last one of them just died about 3 years ago, and he ended up at about 103 years old. That's where he was.
Wow.
But Tivoli graduated some of the finest students. We had doctors, lawyers, engineers, airplane pilots. Also, we had about one Major League Baseball player that came out of the school. And it had a lot of feeder schools. We found 15 feeder schools that poured in, that helped make up Tivoli. These schools were community schools at one point. We had schools in Paxton, Freeport, Bruce, down in the Red Bay area. There was 2 or 3, these were little small community schools back in the late 1800s. And according to the record books in Walton County's archives right now, it's there now. And they had one-room schoolhouses, and there was as many as 4 grades, and then it went up to 5 grades, all the way to the 5th grade. First grade all the way through 5th grade, all in one classroom. And they had them throughout Walton County. There was 15 of them. We found all 15 and found exactly where they were, even from Freeport. There was one school in Freeport, a black school, elementary school, called Liberia. We had never heard of that. A school named Liberia? How did they ever come up with that name? Many people ask us, how did they come up with the name of Tivoli? Where did it come from? And we can't actually pinpoint that to this day. Many think that a military person was on the board here in Walton County, was the one who named it, but we're not positive about that. But nevertheless, it is some great history here, and we are doing our very best to preserve all of it. We started our museum. The Tivoli Historical Society put together the museum that's here on the campus now, and we cut the ribbon on October the 11th, 2011. And at that point, we had about I know at least two, if not three, of the first graduating class still living from 1937. Still living at that point in time when we cut the ribbon on it. Mr. Mace Campbell, who's the brother to Mr. T.P. Campbell, he was the one who cut the ribbon on the museum. And the museum has some good history in it now. We don't have all the artifacts in the museum up there. We have about 300 pieces in the museum now, but we have over 1,200 pieces. We just didn't have enough room to put it. And so many thought by the time we started to working on this building to preserve this gymnasium down here, that we would have moved all of that from the campus down here, but not so. We want to keep the museum on the campus where it should be at. It should stay up there on that campus as long as, the Lord say yes, and the school board to go along with us and help us to provide a place for it. That needs to be up there. But we have so many different artifacts right now we would love to put into the museum. But down here, I'll bring you down to this gymnasium now. The gymnasium was built in 1960, and it's a very historical site. And from 1960, at that point in time, this was the first black gymnasium built west of the Choctawhatchee River at that point in time in Walton County or in the other counties going to the west. And so it's very historical. We have the school board and the superintendent, who was the one who helped them to get the building, on the wall out here now with a plaque. And that plaque is a historical plaque. And to show you that this building is absolutely a historical site. And it has been just a tremendous asset in our community. It helped to jail the black community. And in this community here, we had a lot of businesses that was along this area over here. Grocery store was in this area, barber shop was in this area. We also had a dry cleaner in this area, theater in this area. Many homes, and a lot of the teachers had homes here in this area. And it was a very thriving, prosperous community at that point in time. And so we're trying to preserve as much of that history as we possibly can. And we want people to come and just take a look at it and see it. Here in the gymnasium, we have some of the artifacts now from the coaches. All of our coaches who were winning coaches who were at Tivoli are in the Florida Hall of Fame now. And they're here in the gymnasium. We have things with them out here in the gymnasium right here. Let me just tell you how to get over here. It's at the superintendent's complex. That's where the museum is, inside of that complex. And it's at 110 Thomas Avenue is this building. This building here, the gymnasium, is at 110 Thomas Avenue. And if you come to the superintendent's office, inside of where his office is, in that big building there, that's where you'll find our museum. The Tivoli Historical Museum is in there. And there's over 300 artifacts in that building there alone. And we have preserved all of the graduating classes and the teachers, the principals, from the very first one all the way to the last one. And we're still reaching out in our community, picking up artifacts. Well, many people here in Walton County can remember Boogie Hall. They loved him, but now he went away and then he came back to give back to his community. And he did. He made a huge impact even while he was here as a student. Then he made a bigger impact when he came back as a coach. And Arthur Woodard, many remember him, a winning football coach, had many complete winning seasons, never lost a game, and a lot of them. And Coach Hall, his record speaks for itself. And a lot of other coaches that we had here. But we also had some outstanding teachers who did some great things and moved on in life and did some even better things. But they impacted so many of the students and pushed them and motivated them to go on in life. And a lot of them have accomplished great things. And so it's like I say, again, whenever you stop to look back over the life of Tivoli, for the number of years that it was in existence, it made a huge impact in Walton County, and still making an impact in Walton County at this point in time in history now. Since we opened this gymnasium now, we cut the ribbon on this gymnasium 3 years ago. And from the day we opened it, right now we're averaging over 400 kids a month that's coming in this building every month, coming in and out. We have 2 classes in here right now, tutoring classes for elementary students. And we also have an aerobics class in here for adults. We also have a chess class in here that we're teaching people how to play chess. And and it's growing. And there's some other things that's going on. We have 4 different groups that comes in here to hold meetings in this building. So the building is still now in our community making an impact at this point in time. But God's grace, it was just by God's grace and mercy that he touched the hearts of these people to help us. And our community, the churches, we had 28 churches step to the plate and really put in. The black community put a lot of dollars into it. And so, we're just grateful for that. And all of those ministers who came and participated and helped us along and motivated us and gave us encouragement to keep going and to keep pushing. And we have spent right here in this building, putting it back together, a little over $550,000 from scratch. We started with nothing, and by God's grace again, and by the churches in our community stepped up, and we were able to put together that kind of money to put it back together and to see that it's not torn down. And many people who come into it today, since 3 years ago, can't believe it. Whenever they look inside of it, they say, wow, 3 years and you averaging 400 students in here a month and it's not torn up? No, it's not. It's in excellent condition, and you don't have to take my word for it. Come and see. That's all you would have to do. Okay, for the future, as far as going forward with us from the Tivoli Historical Society point of view, is that we're trying to motivate our students and all the community of Walton County to let's work together and pull in the same direction, that we can motivate our children that they can do better in life and they can achieve even greater things. And we would like to see them take care of the things in which we have reached out to try to put together in here. And you would be surprised at how many kids, like we say, come in and out of here, have, in a sense, been just touched by the building itself and the impact it has. Because see, now they have a place where they can come on Saturday mornings, and even during the summer months, we open it 4 days a week for them. And so now when you think about what we're averaging now, when we get open in the summertime, it picks up. The number of students are coming. And they don't only come from here inside of Walton County now. They come as far ways from South Alabama. We get them all the way out of Florella. They come as far away as Chipley, Mariana, Panama City. They come up here to play with these children. They know a lot of these kids, so they come to play. From South Walton, we have some of them that come over. Freeport, they come in. Now, this past year in April, we did a job fair. We had a job fair in connection with the Walton County school system, Freeport, Paxton. We had 300 kids in that job fair. Juniors and seniors, just juniors and seniors, nobody but juniors and seniors. 300 of them was in here. We had 28 companies in here, lined around the wall, 28 companies. Made an impact on our kids because we could absolutely see it. Many of our kids got summer jobs, and some of them who were seniors moved on because all the military was represented here. We had the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and all of them Marines. All of them were here. And so some of these kids moved on to other things than my seniors did. But that job fair made an impact. The school system has already contacted us from Walton County School System. They want to bring it back this year in April. They're coming back in here, and they're going to bring them back. So therefore, Tivoli Historical Society is playing a key role in doing these kind of things. And the community is benefiting from the dollars that they put up front to put into this building are not wasted. They're making an impact on our children to this day. And if you think that's not true, come down here on a Saturday morning and see how many children is inside of here. And you'll say to yourself, you're right. It's making an impact on them. That's right. The teachers, even the coaches, and like I say, even the cooks, the janitorial people, we had great respect for them. And they had great respect for the students. And they taught the students a lot about self-motivation and reaching out and trying to go higher with some higher goals in life. And I really believe and I feel in my heart that they did an excellent job, simply because when we look back over the life of Tivoli, from the time that you had your first graduating class from 1937 and look all the way down to 1969 at the number of students that came out of there that moved on in life and some of the things that they achieved, a lot of it came from those teachers. They were motivated by those teachers and a lot of the professional people that was at Tivoli, because they cared so much for the students. And see, the students at that point in time, there was a real zeal to want something better in life. And We didn't have a lot of the things that the children have today, like social media, and that kind of thing was not around, and we thank God for that. But nevertheless, they really impacted the children to want to do better than your parents. If you couldn't end up doing better than your parents, and you know your parents struggled to get you to where you are, then you know you felt awful bad. So they really put that into them, that you must try to go ahead and be able to excel higher, and then reach back and do all you can for them that's behind you, to try to pull some of them along with you. And they did that. They taught. That's what the motivation from these teachers and from people like T.P. Campbell and many others, like Arthur Woodard, like James Barge and many others. They were really motivational teachers, and they wasn't only book learning, but there were some things that they taught us about life itself and how we must learn to give back to our community to make our community better. And this is one of the things that which we carry with us to this day.